Namaskar. I am Pradipta Chaudhuri, an initiated lay devotee of the Ramakrishna Mat and Mission who has been practicing and following the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Sri Sarada Devi and Swami Vivekananda to the best of my ability since past 2 decades. As a follower and admirer of the Holy Trio and a well-read devotee of the authentic documents and literature concerning Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, it is my moral duty to give certain clarifications on the backdrop of some unethical defamation of these all-time great spiritual luminaries going around in social media based on distorted facts. I will not give any clarification of my own, but I will read out an excerpt from a memoir about Swami Vivekananda written by G.S. Bhate from Belgaum, Karnataka, published in July 1923 by Prabuddha Bharat, the English spiritual journal initiated by Swami Vivekananda himself. Swamiji has given clarification about his food habits himself in this memoir, which leaves no scope of any doubt for anyone. As about Sri Ramakrishna's great saying, Jato Mat Tata Path, I will read out Holy Mother's explanation about this as narrated to one of the sannyasi disciples and recorded in writing as memoir by Holy Mother's personal attendant Swami Ishanananda. Reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda by G.S. Bhate. I had the rare privilege of having the late Swami Vivekananda as our guest at Belgaum, I believe sometime in 1892. I am not sure of the date, but it was about 6 months before he reached Madras and there became better known than he was before. If I remember aright, it was his first visit to Madras that led to his selection as representative of India at the Congress of Religions held at Chicago. As very few people in India had the advantage of knowing him before he made a name for himself, I think it would be interesting to set down a few reminiscences, however hazy, of his visit and stay at Belgaum. The Swami came to Belgaum from Kolhapur with a note from Mr. Golwalkar, the Khangi Karbhari of the Maharaja. He had reached Kolhapur with a note from the Darbar of Bhavnagar to the Darbar of Kolhapur. I do not remember whether the Swami had stayed in Bombay or merely passed through. I remember him appearing one morning about 6 o'clock with a note from Mr. Golwalkar, who was a great friend of my father's. The Swami was rather striking in appearance and appeared to be, even at first sight, somewhat out of the common run of men. But neither my father nor anyone else in the family or even in our small town was prepared to find in our guest the remarkable man that he turned out to be. From the very first day of Swami's stay occurred little incidents which led us to revise our ideas about him. In the first place, though he wore clothes bearing the familiar color of a sannyasin's garments, he appeared to be dressed differently from the familiar brotherhood of sannyasins. He used to wear a banyan. Instead of the danda, he carried a long stick, something like a walking stick. His kit consisted of the usual gourd, a pocket copy of the Gita, and 1 or 2 books, the names of which I do not remember. Possibly they were some Upanishads. We were not accustomed to see a sannyasin using the English language as a medium of conversation, wearing a banyan instead of sitting bare-bodied, and showing versatility of intellect and variety of information which would have done credit to an accomplished man of the world. He used to speak Hindi quite fluently, but as our mother tongue was Marathi, often he found it more convenient to use English than Hindi. The first day, after the meal, the Swami made a request for betel nut and pan. Then, either the same day or the day after, he wanted some tobacco for chewing. One can imagine the kind of horror which would be inspired by a sannyasin who is commonly regarded as having gone above these small creature comforts, showing a craving for these things. We had discovered by his own admission that he was a non-Brahmin and yet a sannyasin, that he was a sannyasin and yet craved for things which only householders are supposed to want. This was really topsy-turvydom, and yet he succeeded in changing our ideas. There was really nothing very wrong in a sannyasin wanting pan and supari or tobacco for chewing, but the explanation he gave of his craving disarmed us completely. He said that he was a gay young man and a distinguished graduate of the Calcutta University, and that his life before he met Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa was entirely different to what he became afterwards. As a result of teachings of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he had changed his life and outlook, but some of these things he found it impossible to get rid of, and he let them remain as being of no very great consequence. As regards food, when he was asked whether he was a vegetarian or a meat eater, he said that as a man belonging not to the ordinary order of sannyasins but to the order of the Paramhansas, he had no option in the matter. The Paramhansa, by the rules of that order, was bound to eat whatever was offered, and in cases where nothing could be offered, he had to go without food. And a Paramhansa was not precluded from accepting food from any human being, irrespective of his religious beliefs. When he was asked whether he would accept food from non-Hindus, he told us that he had several times been under the necessity of accepting food from Mohammedans. I will now quote an excerpt from Swami Vivekananda's complete works on vegetarianism and non-vegetarianism, as explained by Swamiji in his own words. About vegetarian diet, I have to say this first. My master was a vegetarian, but if he was given meat offered to the goddess, he used to hold it up to his head. The taking of life is undoubtedly sinful, but so long as vegetable food is not made suitable to the human system through progress in chemistry, there is no other alternative but meat eating. So long as man shall have to live a Rajasika, active life, under circumstances like the present, there is no other way except through meat eating. It is true that the Emperor Ashoka saved the lives of millions of animals by the threat of the sword, but is not the slavery of 1,000 years more dreadful than that? Taking the life of a few goats as against the inability to protect the honor of one's own wife and daughter, and to save the morsels for one's children from robbing hands, which of these is more sinful? Rather, let those belonging to the upper 10 who do not earn their livelihood by manual labor not take meat. But the forcing of vegetarianism upon those who have to earn their bread by laboring day and night is one of the causes of the loss of our national freedom. Japan is an example of what good and nourishing food can do. All liking for fish and meat disappears when pure sattva is highly developed, and these are the signs of its manifestation in a soul. Sacrifice of everything for others, perfect non-attachment to lust and wealth, want of pride and egotism. The desire for animal food goes when these things are seen in a man. And where such indications are absent, and yet you find men siding with the non-killing party, know it for a certainty that here there is either hypocrisy or a show of religion. Complete Works 5.403. Swami Vivekananda was a born sannyasi, an epitome of renunciation, who preached what he practiced and who was never ever a person of self-deception. While giving Raja Yoga lectures in the West, Swamiji always prescribed vegetarianism and food restrictions to be practiced in the initial stages of sadhana for commoners. In his personal life, Swamiji was above all the restrictions, as he was a born Paramhansa and an epitome of renunciation beyond the petty worldly realms. Swami Vivekananda was a voice without a form and a burning flame of lofty ideals who continues to inspire the entire nation through generations till date, and who cannot be judged by ordinary mortals according to their petty worldly standards. Now let's listen to what Swamiji says about playing the football and reading the Gita. First of all, our young men must be strong. Religion will come afterwards. Be strong, my young friends. That is my advice to you. You will be nearer to heaven through football than through the study of the Gita. These are bold words, but I have to say them, for I love you. I know where the shoe pinches. I have gained a little experience. You will understand the Gita better with your biceps, your muscles a little stronger. You will understand the mighty genius and the mighty strength of Krishna better with a little of strong blood in you. You will understand the Upanishads better and the glory of the Atman when your body stands firm upon your feet and you feel yourselves as men. Thus, we have to apply these to our needs. Jato Mat Tata Path. As many thoughts, so many ways. Sri Ramakrishna says, one can ascend to the top of a house by means of a ladder or a bamboo or a staircase or a rope. So too, diverse are the ways of approaching God, and each religion in the world shows one of the ways. All religions are true. God can be reached by different religions. Many rivers flow in many ways, but they fall into the sea. There all are one. Book My Blessed Days with Holy Mother. Reminiscences of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. Written by Swami Ishanananda, disciple and attendant of the Holy Mother. Name of the article: Purpose of the Master's Advent. In the year 1326, that is 1919 AD, after Vijayadashami, Kedar Maharaj came from Kualpara to offer Vijaya Pranams to Holy Mother and was conversing with her. Maharaj said, "Mother, people who are fairly well off, they too come to our charitable dispensary to receive free medicines. We are running it for the poor. Is it proper to give to those who are well off?" Mother paused for a while and said, "My son, all are poor in this village. However, if people with money knowingly come to solicit free service, then give them too if you have the resources. Whoever solicits is in poverty." Maharaj changed the topic and said, "Mother, did the Master come this time to establish harmony of religions?" Mother: "Look, my son, I don't think he practiced various religions with the intention of preaching their harmony. He was always immersed in God consciousness. Christian, Muslim, Vaishnav, whatever may be one's approach to God, they will attain to God through their particular approach. The master practiced spiritual disciplines, following each of those paths to enjoy a variety of divine experiences. He was not even aware of the passing of days and nights. But do you know, my son, his renunciation is the ideal for this age. After all, how many could recognize his divinity? People are attracted seeing his renunciation. Except a few belonging to the inner circle, how many could realize that he is none other than God himself? Has anyone seen such a spontaneous spirit of renunciation anywhere else? What you say about the plurality and harmony of religions is also true. But previously, with other incarnations, emphasis was given only to one attitude, and as a result, other attitudes remained suppressed. May glory be on Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda. May peace prevail.